West Ham transfer policy, their tactics that they're playing, is it all wrong? And I'm a bit disappointed in what we've done so far. I made a video yesterday about new signings, can you really trust them, all that sort of stuff. Potential new managers, especially if Potter gets this completely wrong against Nottingham Forest, right? Nottingham Forest playing great football. Their owner has gone in and ruffled feathers, bought loads of players, bought them success, got a manager who's, a bit controversial at the moment as well, but playing good football, got them into Europe, surprised a lot of people, came out of nowhere pretty much, and look, they've done the business. Whereas a club like West Ham, our club, has just got worse and worse. Now, it's all well and good, me as a fan, and you possibly, moaning and berating the club, berating the manager for poor transfers or not buying any new players, or leaving it so late, waiting until we really lose all these games, first 3 games of the season, 2 in the league, of course, 1 in the cup, to start to pull your finger out. The whole point was that you actually do this at the start of the summer, at the end of the previous season, get your new players in. That's what every fan wants. Get some early signings in, get your manager working with these new players, build up a real nucleus of players within the squad so you hit the ground running, the first game of the season. Yeah, look, pre-season games are a bit of fun, really, but really that's about fitness, and that's about getting match fit, and also that's about getting these players to really gel together. Your new signings with your older players, right? But what have West Ham done? Okay, they've sold players that could be of real benefit now to West Ham. Okay, Kudus and Alvarez. So they've sold those 2 players, or put them out on loan in case of Alvarez, right? So that's not really strengthening the side, is it? That's not strengthening. That's not getting rid of your weaker players and bringing in new players that maybe could do better, or bringing in much stronger players. That's just getting rid of your stronger players. So you've already seriously reduced the effectiveness of West Ham for a new season, right? Then you've got to look at, your desperation stage, you're bringing in new players, but you have no idea if they're going to be any good in terms of improving the squad, improving the first team. How successful they're going to be. It's a big risk, right? But now there are rumours here, and there's been rumours for a while actually, that Paqueta could be going. Now, if he doesn't go now, will he go in January? And the whole point here is that you're willing to sell players or send them out on loan, but what you're getting in return is that you're not getting a return. You're not getting an increasing return. You're getting a diminishing return. You're getting a team, a squad that looks a lot poorer. So let's just say, for example, that Paqueta doesn't go to play against Nottingham Forest. Let's just say that Aston Villa, who have come in with a £50 million bid or an option to pay £50 million at the end of the season, initial loan and everything. Let's just say that deal goes through. On top of Kudus, on top of Alvarez going through. Let's just say that goes through. What does that say to the rest of the players? What does that say to the likes of Jared Bowen? Because Jared Bowen is going to be, and Fulkrug, and the likes of that. Let's just say they're going to be looking around going, what the fuck is this? What's going on? And then you kind of be thinking, well, even if Paqueta doesn't go, because this has been muted before with his move to Man City, or they were interested, then obviously the betting scandal investigation took over, so that ruined everything there. But then they're going to be thinking, well, if it doesn't go now, he's likely to go in January and maybe next year, especially if he plays well. If he doesn't play well, either way, that's going to be a bad thing for West Ham. So it's almost like, well, if he doesn't want to play for us and he's wanting to go, then we probably should be going. He should be going. But we should already be in a position where we've got somebody who's better. You see, there should be an overlap in terms of transfers. You got somebody potentially going out, but you've already got somebody coming in, overlapping them, and they overlap in terms of playing with each other for a number of weeks, maybe a year, something like that. And then whoever wants to leave can leave, and then you've got that person already in place. That might be the same standard that you got them at a cheaper deal, or paying cheaper wages, or they're so much better than whoever was going out who wants to leave. Therefore, you're paying exactly the same money, but you get a much better return. We don't have this overlap of transfers. We have something where, okay, before we can get these in, or we've got to get these in, we desperately have to get rid of our players. Our net spend isn't that much. You get in the media, people saying, oh yeah, they spent 140 million, 100 million, whatever. But the net spend isn't that much. And you could argue, well, for a club like West Ham in the Premier League, all those Premier League years, they should be doing a lot better than they actually are. And let's not forget, we don't own the stadium, and we don't pay for a lot of the services. We don't pay for a lot of the marshalling. We don't pay for a lot of the policing, all that kind of stuff. So actually, we should be doing a hell of a lot better than we already do. We haven't invested in the club. We haven't invested in, the training ground. We haven't invested in that. So the one thing that you should be doing then is investing in the players, investing in the squad, and making it a proper, an overlap of transfers. Getting new players to bed them in, making sure that we're doing our business early so that everybody's working together and everybody can see a clear goal, a clear vision of the future of our club. But we don't do that. So this is just, now I'm hoping this is just some aimless rumour that Paqueta's going. But it isn't just an aimless rumour, because we already know that his head could be turned by going to Man City before. We know that other teams are going to be looking at him. We know that goal we scored against Chelsea the other night, guess what? Other clubs are going to be thinking, he's just in a really bad team here. If we can put him in our team, he might do a job for us. He will do a job for us. Especially if we can keep him happy, especially that there's no scandal over his head now. He's being completely exonerated. Yeah, let's do it. And I can fully understand why the likes of Aston Villa want to come in for Paqueta. I can fully understand why many other clubs would want to come in for him. But if they're going to say, okay, we're just going to put him out on loan, first of all, we don't have any overlap, because the new players that have come in, Magas and Fernandes so far, they're not Paquetas. They're not Paqueta. And even if, let's say, Fernandes was that Paqueta type, well, you're expecting him to hit the ground running straight away. Well, that's rarely the case, or certainly with any consistency. You could argue that Paqueta isn't really consistent either. But in terms of the new players there is no consistency, there is no level, there is no experience what Paqueta does. There is no level to experience what Kudus could have done if he was played in the correct position. There is nobody there who's an Alvarez that, who could do some great stuff as well. Now, you could argue, well, we're pinning our hopes on Fernandes and Magassa coming in and doing a job, and people saying they've got to be in the match day squad, they've got to be in the starting 11 for Sunday against Nottingham Forest. And you kind of think, well, yeah. But what about if Potter doesn't put them in there? What about if they get into training this week, or they've been getting into training, or they've hardly had any training at all with the players? Can you really expect them to be put into a first team squad, or into the first team, into the starting 11, and for them to actually know what the hell's going on, actually know who the other players are and what they should be doing to be effective against a really good Nottingham Forest team? It's a tall order. I don't expect them to start. I probably expect them to be in the match day squad, but I don't expect them to start. If they come on as subs, yeah, and they shine, great. But this whole policy of West Ham, we know it's terrible. We know that it's totally mismanaged. And, again, the leadership, the ownership, it's all to blame there. But it's all managers. But it's just frustrating as hell. where you've got decent players at a club, and we could build on that. We could build on that. And successive years, year after year, we don't build on positive times. And it just leads to negative times. We lose our players. We are a selling club because we just can't put players in their right positions. We can't get a tune out of players. And when we do, other teams come in for them because we just don't have any plan or any aspiration to get on and move on. We don't have this overlap of transfers where we're seeing in new players and seeing if they can produce for us before we let other players go. We don't do our transfer business early enough. We don't go in with the right money. We don't pay proper money for these players that would get them over the line quickly. So regardless of who the manager is, if if your system of buying players, selling players is flawed, that means you're always going to have a problem in terms of the quality of a squad, the quality of the match day starting 11, and also the quality of our performances. And then we're overly reliant on players with little experience or little game experience or little team experience to work wonders. Now, it can happen. Granted, I will say that it can happen, but the chances of it happening are so remote. Look, I think we've got to be wary right now of that Paqueta deal, because even if it doesn't go over the line, if it doesn't happen, right, even if he doesn't go to Nottingham Forest, okay, because there's a chance that deal could be done for Aston Villa, right, it's if he stays, that's the issue here. If he stays, and what are his performances going to be like, and will he then go in January? Because if he goes, it's almost like, well, he's gone. Another bit of bad business for us, but at least we know where we're at. If he stays, now this has happened, and this is being allowed to happen, then all of a sudden you've got to think, well, what kind of a player have we got now? Do we have a player that really wants to play for West Ham? Yeah, how many times have you said to yourselves or asked yourselves, or how many times have you heard somebody like me or anybody else, of course, say that we want players, we only want players who want to play for the shirt, want to play for the club, live and breathe for this club. And any other fan of any other team in the world, you would expect the same from your players, right? You want players that ultimately want to play for you. They don't want to go off and play with somebody else. They don't want their heads turned and think, oh yeah, what's better over there? No, they want to be 100% focused on your team, your club. But if the policy of the transfers keeps on letting them down, how many times have we seen players, very good players, fantastic players, leave a club, in our sense, West Ham, of course, how many times have we seen it because they've seen that the transfers of other players coming in or promises that were made to them just isn't right? And we've seen it so many players. So let us know in the comments below. If you can name, a couple of players that's happened to, we've lost. I can name 15 at this rate. But it's happened for many, many years. So, what's Bowen going to feel like now with the Paqueta rumours going on? Because they listen to rumours. They know what's going on. What's he going to feel like if he stays and he's not performing? What are we going to feel like against Paqueta? We're going to get on his case and say, hold on a minute, you were just about to leave your turncoat. What about now? Especially with his inconsistency, especially when, he might not not play well for us. It's beyond disappointing. But, what do we expect? What do we expect? Because this is years and years of mismanagement, years and years of terrible, transfer deals, a lack of a proper support for a director of football, the implementation of a proper director of football, years and years of poor selection of management, strong managers with a clear vision to play attractive football and getting the players in to support that kind of football. And going in early for transfers and building a nucleus, building a squad of first 11 and having lots of depth in a squad. That's what you want from any, look, that's what you want from any team, right? That's certainly what we want from West Ham squad. But it's, it comes down to money, and it comes down to, do you want to spend that money? And for West Ham, because of their financial situation. There really is no reason why that money shouldn't have been spent. Or net spend should not have been spent. But we're selling our great players. We're selling all the ones that potentially could be great, and we're bringing in uncertainty. So you're selling really good quality, known values, getting rid of those, and you're bringing in unknown values. And you're hoping that these new ones are going to be better than the ones going out. How often has that not worked with West Ham? How often has that not worked with any team for that matter? But listen, it's gonna be a tough day at the office tomorrow against Nottingham Forest, no doubt. I'm looking forward to the game, of course. I'm not looking forward to the result. Hopeful that we could always come away with a result. Hopeful that we can get a minimum draw. Fantastic if we got a win. Fantastic if we got delivered a performance. Fantastic if the two new signings got a run out and they shone and we got something to hold on to. Fantastic. But if it doesn't, and everything goes to pot, what does that mean? What does that mean for our future? What does that mean for Potter, the players, the spirit around the club, which is already going to be tough? And it comes down to the same again. It's down to policy. It's down to structure. It's down to who's running the show. What the hell are they doing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, keep on watching, and well, up the hammers. Let's get a result tomorrow. Catch you again. Bye now.